The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices.
Let our fallen heroes and heroines guide and shield our men and women. Let their ultimate sacrifice be the reason we change the game and give our enemies what they have been giving us. Ambazonia needs to protect its people from the terrorist troops of La République du Cameroon. The time is now to do just that.
We are enough, so let's draft, and draft. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It's time for Ndian County.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this very special edition of our pre-draft show. And today we are joining the federal government of Ambazonia to draft Ndian. You sure must have heard the voice of the president yesterday, calling on every Ambazonian and to an extent explaining the importance of the draft Ndian. But I know a lot of people would also want to ask, what's the importance of the pre-draft show? Why do we even need to have a pre-draft show to get people ready into the draft? Before I even get into that side of our discussion, we have on our panel this evening Barrister Fru John So and Barrister Tim Besia. We're hoping that Barrister Ghana Valentine will join us. We have at least 1 hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours to talk about many things, to give you updates on the reports on the ground, an overview, historical overview of the Ndian County and why it is instrumental for Ambazonians as a collective to draft it. And we'll also make a comment on what is happening. Is it CDN 3 or CDN 4? What is happening in Canada? We've seen their resolutions. We're getting different information from the purported stakeholders, those who left the Cameroons and went to Canada. At the end of the day, I'll hint you that it was a flop because there is already division between the Confucianists who were in Canada. So that would be a high point of our discussion this evening. But again, why do we have the pre-draft show? Right after that, you have me, Barrister Fru John So, and Barrister Tim Besia get into the crux of the matter of tonight. Stay tuned. As you already know, every episode of the pre-draft show will not only entertain, captivate, and or educate you, but also it is customized to stir the mobilization of resources for a worthy cause. In a world full of scripted dramas and reality TV, this show stands out for its unique purpose: to make a difference in the lives of the oppressed peoples of Ambazonia. It is a show that combines the power of entertainment, infotainment, with the strength of collective action. Each episode of this show takes us on a journey through the lives of our people facing immense challenges, be it poverty, discrimination, injustice, or belligerent occupation. We get a glimpse into the struggles of every county in Amazonia and their dreams for a better future. But this show does not stop at just showcasing their hardships. It goes further. It empowers viewers to make a tangible impact on each county. Throughout the show, we are presented with opportunities to contribute and support these counties in their fight for a brighter tomorrow. Whether it is through monetary donations, volunteering, or spreading awareness, we are encouraged to participate actively in their journey towards a better life and, most importantly, a free Amazonia. The Pre-Draft Show is not just a platform for entertainment or infotainment. It is a catalyst for change. It urges us to tap into our compassion, to open our hearts, and to extend a helping hand towards the liberation movement. It reminds us that we have the power to make a positive difference in the home front, one episode at a time. So I implore you to tune in, especially for those who are watching us on social media, not just as a passive viewer, but as active participants. Watch this show with a purpose: to learn, to be inspired, and to take action. Let it ignite a fire within you, urging you to mobilize resources and reach out to those in need. By supporting this TV show on ABC Amber TV, you are not only contributing to a groundbreaking form of entertainment, but also facilitating real change on the ground. Your involvement will provide much needed resources, amplify voices, and drive forward progress in our communities that have long been overlooked. So join us in the incredible journey together. Let's use the power of TV to mobilize resources, create awareness, and make a lasting impact by charting a definitive path for Amazonia. Thank you for your support, and let us tune in TV show of purpose and possibility. For those watching via social media platforms, again, please share.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices.
Let our fallen heroes and heroines guide and shield our men and women. Let their ultimate sacrifice be the reason we change the game and give our enemies what they have been giving us. Amazonia needs to protect its people from the terrorist troops of La República Cameroon. The time is now to do just that.
We are enough, so let's draft, and draft. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It's time for Ndian County.
You're welcome back. It's jam full of plenty, and I wouldn't waste even 1 minute. Good evening and welcome, Barrister Fru, Barrister Team Bisia. Thank you for always making yourself available to serve Amazonia. Good evening. You're welcome.
Thank you, Paddy.
Thanks. Thank you for having us once more. We're here to do our best.
Yeah. Yes, we have a lot on our plate this evening, and our time most definitely is limited. And I'm telling those who are watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, most especially on all our social media platforms, you have to share, because today is going to be our perspective on the issue of the CDN. I'm going to keep that for the last, but maybe we should start by talking a little bit about the county. Ndian County is facing a very particular challenge. The Prime Minister, Ndian County, of the Colonial Republic of Cameroon, is from Ndian. And interestingly, the First Lady of Amazonia is from Ndian. I'm talking about President Sarko's wife. So this is a very particular draft for the people of Amazonia. And Ndian happens to be the bread basket of the two Cameroons put together. It's heavily rich, but unfortunately, Ndian is very poorly developed. What could be the strategy of the colonial government or administration subjecting the people of Ndian to so much suffering? It's a question we want to attempt answers tonight. I'll be starting with you, Barrister Fru.
Yeah, Paddy, thank you very much. Ndian is very dear to Amazonia, to the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Ndian is our bread basket that is being stolen every day by La République du Cameroon. La République du Cameroon has purposely left Ndian underdeveloped. They fly by helicopters and go to our offshore Ndian and drill the oil that is spoiling their economy and foiling this war. La République has never, as far as I know, as far as I was growing up, has never made any effort to provide to Ndian any kind of infrastructure. Ndian is in the forest, Ndian is in the creeks, and Ndian is housing one of the biggest agro companies in the southern Cameroons called Pamol. Ndian produces or used to produce a lot of palm oil from Pamol that was spoiling the economy of La République du Cameroon. Thank God our restoration forces have been able to reduce palm oil to virtually nothing. Ndian, I will argue, has suffered more than any other county in the southern Cameroons because of what La République du Cameroon has done to it. They took over Ndian, they parade their armies in Ndian, Bamuso, and all the other places, all these places where they do fishing. They parade all their navy everywhere in the sea, but they have never thought that Ndian deserves any kind of development. Ndian is only good to feed La République du Cameroon. Ndian is the reason why the southern Cameroons contributes more than 65% of the GDP of La République du Cameroon. From the 1960s up to today, La République has been living on Ndian La Republic drills crude oil in the Gulf of Guinea, which is Indian, and sells to the world market, and that's what they use in growing the economy and in killing us. To me, Ndian is a very important county. We have to do, as Ambazonians, we have to do whatever it takes to make sure that we take La Republic out of Ndian. I don't know what it's going to take. It will take much more than what we are doing now, because if you look at the way the rigs have been built, they have been built in offshore, but in the Gulf of Guinea, that belongs to Ndian, and that is where La Republic is taking all our resources, all the crude oil. We have done everything about economic sabotage, but we cannot get to those creeks, not just yet. But we need to do everything to make sure that the restoration forces in Ndian have what it takes to keep Ndian hot for the Southern Cameroons until when we'll be able to take out those risks. Because if you look at it, Paddy, very carefully, France has ELF in Ndian. Perinco is owned by France and Britain in Ndian. Adak is owned by the Chinese, former Pectin. Pectin sold its company to the Chinese, and it's now called Adak. And then the Russian company, the Russian drilling company, I have forgotten the name, is the highest producer of crude oil in the Gulf of Guinea. Still India.
Yeah.
Four major oil drilling companies in the Gulf of Guinea that La Republic is exploiting. Yeah. They are even exploiting oil and gas. They are even exploiting gas and shipping the gas to Spain. Then the gas is shipped in the name of the Russians. They have a contract with the Russians up to 2024 to pipe. I mean, they take the gas, pipe it to Equatorial Guinea, and Equatorial Guinea sends it to Spain in the name of the Russians.
Yeah.
That is why, if you look at the present, I watched a present publication where Cameroon features number 9 out of the 10 richest countries in the world with natural resources.
Natural resources, yeah.
Yeah, natural resources.
The natural resources
and those natural resources, they all come from Ndian and the Southern Cameroons.
Bakassi, Mamfe, Ndian, and
also. No. Bakassi is Indian. Bakassi is all Indian.
Yeah.
And then of course, Mate and CDC, Pamol,
yeah,
all that. Yeah. More than 65% of the GDP. You don't need to believe me. Ambazonians don't need to believe me. Just read the United Nations Economic Evaluation Plan. You'll see the GDP of Cameroon, see how much the Southern Cameroon contributes to the GDP of Cameroon. It's more than 65%. That is what makes Cameroon one of the richest, the 10 richest countries, on the 10 richest countries in the world with natural resources.
That's amazing. And I was listening to the president during the interview with LN24 from South Africa. He has a mastery of this, and he gives us the statistics. And the president said, if we are left alone, our per capita income alone puts us almost above every other country in Africa, but for maybe Gabon.
Correct.
Just the per capita income. And this is so amazing. Barrister Mbese, I'm coming to you now. You've just heard from Barrister Fru, and he's saying There are some creeks that we need to get to them, and maybe to possess them or repossess them, because we're not trying to possess what belongs to someone else. We will need heavy weaponry. And that tells us again the urgency for this draft. Please talk to us.
Thank you very much, Paddy. Two things to remember about. Nobody will deny, Yaoundé does not deny, France does not deny, UK does not deny that Indian is the economic hub of what they call West Africa. Not just Cameroon, including Nigeria. That's one of the reasons I believe very strongly. The oil and the gas rich peninsula in Bakassi and the like did not come to be known only after 1961. The British knew that. That's why they did everything to think that British Southern Cameroon should become part of Nigeria. That will be under them. And so there is no doubt, nobody doubts that our problem is getting ourselves not just educated, but being willing to take over what it is. Back in 1961, by the time we got independence in 1961, Ndian was considered an enclaved region of Kumba division. Nobody knew that. But as soon as French government got the independence, in 1964, they created 3 divisions. Before then, there were only 6 in the whole country of southern Cameroon. By 1964, they created 3 more. And these 3 were Ndian, Momo, and Bui. Momo has a very large population. Bui has a very large population. Ndian has a very thin population. But the French government knew what it is, what was at stake. And so, I don't know how many of our brothers and sisters who come from India are able to become sweepers, just sweepers, in the general manager's house of Sonara. The oil is all piped from there, refined in Victoria, managed by the Bulus, where the Indian man cannot even have the right to be a messenger, a house cleaner. He reaps nothing out of it. Yes, Pamo grows oil there. They grow palm oil and other things, which is sending out for money. But Pamo's shipping office is in Douala. So whatever thing they ship abroad and whatever taxes come in there, they are not even paid to the Indian Council. They are paid to Douala. I hear these things all come from Indian. I wonder what the Dion Gutes and several others, well-educated people from there, what they think. What of injustice is this that they cannot stand up against it? What of unfairness is this? What of enslavement is this? Yeah, there's nothing in Indian, there's no road there. But that's not different from any other place. We have no roads anywhere else. That is part of the general killing of what we call British Southern Cameroon. I think we saw videos this week of roads going to Cambe or wherever. They are totally impossible. It's the same thing in India. Why? It's not just because they wanted to take the money. No, they want to keep us in ignorance. Yeah, and they have never imagined that what Balsanso is saying that he read will be something common knowledge for you to go online and find it. They have not known that. They thought that it is something they have to go to Yaoundé and give bribe to somebody in the Ministry of Justice, in the Ministry of Finance, wherever, to give you a falsified copy of a document. But with this information before all of us, before the British themselves, before the French themselves, and with us, now we know we're citing it. Shall we lie down and let these people trample on us? No. If we have not done it, let us rise to the challenge. Everything waits for its own time. 60 years have passed, and the oil is still there. 60 years have passed, and the gas is still there. And so, as we go to draft Indian, let us remember, Indian is not the size, Indian is not the population. Indian includes, and most importantly for Amazonia, the economic hub of the country, one of the economic hubs of Africa, which up to today, even with the money stolen from it, Yaoundé cannot show what they have done with the money, even in their own dollar, who in their Yaoundé. Where's the money? The money is all kept in their secret banks at home, put in foreign banks, and that's all. And so it is important that as we go to India, let all of us not be motivated by what the Indian man does or does not do. No, but let us be motivated by what Indian stands for in this our future
Yeah.
economy. Indian is important, and I can say without Indian, Amazonia without Indian will collapse economically.
Yeah.
Because whereas the cocoa trees get old, whereas the coffee trees get old, whereas the palm trees fall and die, the gas remains in the ground. The oil remains in the ground. It doesn't die. So let us remember,
Yeah.
Indian is our economic epicenter. Thank you.
Barrister Mbesa, you've just said something there, which I think is the strategic thinking we should get from the leadership of Ambazonia. When I'm talking about the leadership of Ambazonia, I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about those who hold posts of responsibility like you, like county chairs, LGA chairs. I'm talking about cabinet members. Do they have this mentality of the collective gain of what the government or Ambazonia needs to do at this time of war? Do we educate ourselves of the importance? Maybe, like you have just said, Barrister Mbesa, there are some who might be thinking, okay, it's not my county. I think nobody that holds a post of responsibility should think so limited when it comes to strategy and the need for us to win certain parts. There are some that will be strengthened or have the strength of money. Like counties like Momo, Mezam, they have the money. But look at even the way the colonial administration governs us, should tell us that we need to re-strategize as counties to support different counties like Ndian. They're so keen about Ndian, they're so keen about Victoria. In fact, their strongest military base is in Victoria right now, heading towards Ndian. They have even said in Yaoundé that they don't even care about Mezam. Sometimes they've said so a couple of times. So do we as a government, Barrister Froome, have this mentality of not just winning our counties, but winning Ambazonia for all?
Well, if you look at the way the cabinet is, the way the LGA chairs are, the way the county chairs are, you want to think that they should be working in coordination. Yes, we are doing the best we can as a government in exile. But we have to look at how the richer counties can turn around and help to uplift the counties that are wanting. There is no justification for the type of draft money I see entering Mezam, for the draft money I see entering Momo, and for the draft money I see entering other counties. There's no justification for not taking that money and putting in counties like Ndian. Look, like Balsambasa has said it all. Without Ndian, the economy of Amazonia will collapse because that is our economic epicenter.
Without Zian, then there's really no reason why we're really fighting too much this war.
Exactly. And I would like to add that not only Ndian, but the surrounding county The county that is next to Ndian is Meme. And Meme is not very forthcoming when it comes to resources. So the rest of the other counties are supposed to come to the aid of Meme and Ndian, especially Ndian and Meme, because Meme has an obligation to join with Ndian to save Ndian, to protect Ndian. Look, we can sit here and cry if we don't put the resources that are necessary to secure and defend Ndian. Then the nation of Ambazonia is in both economic diets. I am saying this, and I'm calling on all those who manage those big countries like Ndian, like Momo and Mezam. Please, today, go to your coffers and take whatever you have to take and give it to Ndian. Because we need, you all are aware, let me break it down. You all are aware that with the coup plotters, the political structure in Ndian has virtually collapsed. That doesn't, but we are very lucky because God in his infinite mercy has kept the restoration forces in Ndian intact. And they are doing what they have to do. They are being backed up by Meme. So we need to fund that area. And we are calling on those other rich countries that have money right now that are not using the money, or they are using it, but we need to rationalize. Take some of that money and put it in Ndian. Ndian needs Ambazonia right now, the rest of Ambazonia right now, to protect it. In my expose a few minutes ago, Paddy, I said we don't have the means of getting those rigs out. My cry has been that those rigs should be taken out, but without any means we cannot. But since we cannot, the small that we have, we should rationalize and ensure that the breadbasket of Ambazonia, which is Indian, gets what it takes to keep it. Our restoration forces are doing their best, and we need to recruit more and send to Ndian and back up Ndian from Meme. Meme has to give a backing to Ndian so that we can drive at least online on the land the forces of La République de Cameroon. We will not be able to get them out of the sea because they have their navy and all that stuff, and we don't. But on land, we should ensure that our forces get even to Bakassi on land. And the only way to do that is for us to put all our hands on deck and fund them. I'm calling on all good meaning Ambazonians, both in America, in Europe, in all parts of the world, to come to the rescue of Ndian. It is very important. It is very, very important.
Very important. Come to the rescue on Ndian. But Satim, what do you think about that? Owing to the fact that the federal government is choosing, since Barrister Fru has just confirmed that the administration is not what it's supposed to be. I wouldn't really say it has collapsed entirely, but the federal government is manning Ndian moving forward. What do you think with regards to this strategic thinking?
No, there's nothing wrong with that strategy. I think if I listen to the president very, very well, this year, this 2023, we're doing two types of drafts. We have drafted the federal government, and we're now drafting the counties and LGAs. I hope in future we would even go to Ndian and don't call them LGA, because Ndian, by the last statistics I have, is the least populated division in the so-called Southwest. They are the sixth, no, they are the fifth. Kopumanguba is last. But in terms of Yaoundé, they have 9 LGAs, 9 subdivisions. They thought that putting duos left and right was a sign of development. They forgot that.
Perhaps it was a strategy of divide and conquer, just dividing them and
Yes, I was going to say that was not even effective. A couple of years ago, they appointed one of my own brothers to go and become the Duke of Dabato. He didn't even reach there. He was killed in the sea. So there's no sign of development. So what shall we do as it is? India may be so small. India may be very, very rich. But they are the best tactically for guerrilla warfare. The guerrillas operate in the bushes. Why are the bushes there? That is the reason, for example, why 6 administrative officials disappeared there and nobody could account for them. The government could not even dare go to look for them. So we have the strategic advantage that if we consider Ndian, as you know, we have this feeling all the time. Oh, Nanjange, come from Nanjange, I go for Yanjange. That is common with the African thing. That's why people say, well, I don't know Ndian, I will not give my money. But the federal government is there to coordinate those things. We shall give more. But what goes to the federal government, I heard the president say something on that line. What we cannot do as counties, the federal government, the federal draft will take care of part of it. I don't know what we can do or what we cannot do, but we know that the risks are there. We know that if we can take them down, that will be great. But we can only do it when we have the capacity. But before we take down the risks, before we do all that, there are a lot of things that we could do. And that would be very, very meaningful. They have started doing it. I don't remember any other person, any other county, other than, for example, Momo, where the sous-prefect of Batibo disappeared. The only one who had this mass disappearance of government administration officials is Ndian, where the 6 administrators all disappeared without even a single word. And so Ndian is not as helpless as we think. With the background, what they have, 2 weeks ago, but not too long ago, we saw them silence the palm oil workers there. Any palm oil worker who goes to work in palm oil, anybody goes to work in palm oil, even including the general manager, if he's not living in Douala, knows that he will operate, if at all, with the permission of our defense forces. And so we are in control of the terrain. And so let us, and again, Ndian is not just Ndian. There's no other place. Ndian is the only division. The only access to Ndian is through Kumba. You can go to Ndian from Mamfe, but you're going to work for hours, for years, for days. So the direct access is Meme. First, we're part of Meme. So why we draft Ndian? We don't forget that Meme is the access to Ndian. At least our boys, they didn't eat to buy food from Kumba. They didn't need to do many things. They will have to come to Meme. And so these two should be considered as a twin for us to handle them tactically and skillfully. If you cannot draft Ndian alone, there's no way we can even draft enough for Ndian. We can do something from the federal treasury, the federal which belongs to all, which the president has the capacity, the national defense forces authorities have the right to go there, take A and feed B, take B and feed C. And so we are not all desperate, we are not hopeless. The avenues are still there. If we have only 10, 20 gorillas there, that's enough. A gorilla army does not need to be thousands. No, we need a few devoted gorillas who will take the gorilla actions. That will be fair. We don't need a big camp to go and station people there and feed them now. We need devoted gorillas who will operate in the, that's their fertile ground. They can go around at will. They can operate the way they want there without anybody raising a finger. And so let us have this in mind. Why we draft? Those in charge of the defense forces, those tacticians who are handling this, they know what we're saying. And so they can better work out the strategy for us to maximize what we have for the best product that we can get. Thank you.
That was amazing
Paddy?
right there. Yes, add quickly. before we move to the next?
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead.
let me quickly add that the topography of Ndian is very, very good for guerrilla warfare, because most of the divisions, the so-called fictitious divisions created by La Republic, are in the creeks. They have several subdivisions that mean nothing, but they are in the creeks. We should not only look at Ndian from Mundemba, and of course, we have to move, extend our gorillas right to Bakassi, right to Ediabato, right to all the other little villages in the creeks, so that even if we cannot get to those rigs or to the Navy, Cameroon Navy, we should be able to take all the forces on the land of Ndian, both on land and in the creeks, and protect our territory and protect our economic epicenter. Well, Barrister Mbesa said there was the federal draft can take care of. Let me tell you, the federal draft, we all know that it was not unlimited. I am still proposing, Paddy, that Mezam and Momo, and maybe Manu, those that drafted good money, please let's rationalize and make sure we put some resources to help Indian, so that we can continue to dream of that, okay, of the economic live wire of Amazonia.
Barrister, I wanted us to move into the first part of the historical review, but you have just said something that I want the both of you to react 30 seconds each. Should we just, because there used to be a federal marshal project that was messed up by Egiawan and Chris Arnold, but
yes,
should the federal government focus only on getting resources from the counties that are powered? Look at Bui, look at Oketunja. These are some counties that have proven time and time again that there's something these two counties understand that other counties may be on the ground and not understanding. Especially Bui.
That's correct.
That the leadership on the ground, from Tubu to talk and do today, right? Do we think that the other counties can make some consultation when it comes to training, and why not personnel? Will that facilitate us working counties, like interrelationship between counties? Sagon is a mastermind. Talk and do has proven to be a hero on the ground. He's not just talking. You can see his leadership. When I look at it, I watch his videos every day. Now, what do we think? I don't know about that. The vice president should have been here to answer some of this question, but you are both advisors of the government. What do you think about our strategy on the ground? Should we consult with some of these counties to make sure that things happen at some places where they're not really happening?
You have just hit the nail, Paddy. I had been dreaming that in order for these other counties to do what is happening in Bui and Gokutunja, we need to some consultations, consultants, military consultants that are on the ground in Bui and Gokutunja to help train our forces in the other counties. Manu is not doing very badly. We need a consultant even from Manu.
Yeah.
To train Meme. We cannot be that greedy. We cannot be fighting in isolation. I tell you that I'm talking honestly. Mezam allowed forces to fly from Santa right down to Mezam and cross to Ngokutunja, and they are stopped by Ngokutunja. When the Great Mezam is unable to stop whatever forces La Republic is bringing from its territory through the highway from Bafusam right through to Santa, right through to Bamenda, and then from there they move to Ngokutunja. It no longer happens because Ngokutunja stops them. Bui stops them. And Bui and Ngokutunja are doing something that the other counties need to learn from.
They need to learn from.
And in order for them to learn, we must interact. We must have the forces send consultants to help the other forces in other counties. Yes, that is the only way we can do it. Let me tell you, Ndian has one of the most powerful forces in Amazonia. Because when the political structures in Ndian crumbled, the restoration forces stayed intact until our very famous Ten Kobo, I don't know what happened to him, disappeared. But even after his disappearance, the forces in Ndian are still very, very active. I'll give you an example. Just a few months ago, they did a marvelous job in Mundimba.
Yeah.
That's the heart of Ndian. That's the headquarters of Ndian. They were able to carry out very, very, very surgical and strategic operations in that area. And Mbonge used to be our Mbonge used to be a very strategic area where our forces were active. But because of coup plotters, the man there, the LGA chair they call One Asong, I don't know where he is now. He destroyed the whole thing. But the Meme forces are still very volatile. So they need help. They need help so that they can help not only them, not only Meme, but also Ndian. We need to beef up Ndian with forces from Meme.
Very quickly, Barrister Mbesa, what do you think about that?
I think sometimes when we discuss strategy and policy into too much detail, it doesn't work. It doesn't help us. You see, the idea of learning from one another is not being started here today. How many of us remember the technology called the Fangse? That was a Red Dragon thing. Those of us who were involved, who got there, knew how wanted to train, wanted in fact to go acquire the Fangse from the Red Dragons. Then manufacture it, and then rest by. In fact, contributed money for that project. They will soon realize that was not going to help. They changed the strategy and sent people to go train how to make the Fangse. They went back with the technology, improved in it. So when I were here, I measured my words very carefully. I said that the number is not what is important. The strategy is what is the most important. Remember
that's exactly why we're asking the need to enhance the strategy.
No, let me finish. The last 2 cycles of draft, one of the counties that drafted least in terms of money was Bui. But Bui, with their little money, has shown us that money alone is not enough. If they drafted 10,000, they have put in the effort that you can say, yes, we've seen it. So we shall be people in the Defense Department, I think they know what to do. If every county, for example, defense-wise, could go to India and say, but how do you adopt these administrators and they disappear? There's technology that probably we don't have in Kumba, we don't have in Mamfe, we don't have in Maminda. So everybody is learning something from the other. But again, let us leave this for those experts in the field. You know it very, very well. You cannot transplant, maybe, I don't say you cannot. It's difficult to transplant a fighter from Ngokutunja to Ndian.
Well, I think that we should leave that for strategy. But the point is,
because when they get there, the thing will differ. Our defense people know what to do.
The thinkers can think of what to do. But I would say that we leave that for strategy. How is
Paddy, before the thinkers know what to do, they must get from us civilians. something to think about.
That's why
I was not by that. I was not by that revealing the strategy, the intelligence of how they are going to do it. But I'm saying that knowledge should be shared. And I want to also add that Bui and Goktunja, until you can prove me wrong, they are what they are today because of the leadership.
Yes,
the leadership of those two counties.
I think it's
and
important.
Manu is also as good as it is today because of leadership.
Yes. So just to agree with us, I think the essence of this discussion is to help county leadership to understand the need for collaboration and be humble about
Correct.
it. It is not fair for what is happening in certain counties to continue happening. If Mezam really doesn't think their strategy, it puts the other counties at risk because they are a metropolitan, especially Bamenda is metropolitan and access and so on and so forth. If Mehmet does not rethink their strategy, it puts Ndian at risk and so on and so forth. So whether we enjoy it or not, there should be some humility to learn and a need for collaboration. Star Smart has the first part of our editorial for tonight. Right after that, we're going to get some updates on the reports that are coming from the ground. Then we'll come back to talk very briefly about what happened in Canada. Is it CDN 3 or CDN 2 or whatever? Mr. Mesia, you shared a lot of things with me, and it's time for us to talk about it. We're not going to have enough time anyway, but at least we'll tell Ambazonians what we think about it. Stay tuned. Right after that, we'll be back.
In our editorial for tonight, we look at a historical overview of Ndian County. Ndian County, located in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon, is steeped in a rich history and captivating narrative. Established in 1975, this county was carved out of portions of Victoria and Kumba counties. Its administrative center is in Mundemba, with other important towns including Bamuso, Toko, Dikome, Balwe, Isangele, Ekondo Titi, and Bikora. While Ndian County comprises 9 local government areas, which include the Bamuso, Toko, Dikome, Balwe, Isangele, Ekondo Titi, Kumbo Itindi, Idabato, Kumbo Abedimo, and Mundemba. Well, it is also connected to significant towns like the Kumba in Lord Mummy. According to the data provided by the colonial government in the 2005 population census, Ndian County boasted a population of approximately 362,201 individuals. Well, this population was predominantly rural, accounting for 83%, while the remaining 17% resided in semi-urban areas. However, the interim government of Ndian County posits that the actual population exceeds these figures, estimating it to be over 756,104 inhabitants. The county's population density averages 114 persons per square kilometer, though it drops to around 80 persons per square kilometer in coastal and Rumpi Hill regions. Now, before skyrocketing to 540 persons per square kilometer in the semi-urban centers like Mudemba and Ekondo Titi. Ndian County is home to diverse tribes, including the Batanga, Isangele, Bima, Balondo, Efik, Balwe, and Ngolo. These tribes share similarities in their Bantu languages. The mountainous forest regions is inhabited by the Batanga, Balwe, Bimba, and Ngolo tribes, who rely primarily on hunting, shifting cultivation, and the collection of non-timber forest produce for their livelihoods. On the other hand, the Efik, Nsangwele, and Balondo tribes inhabit the coastal and low-lying areas, engaging in various agricultural practices, fishing, and petty trading. The shifting cultivation is a prevalent agricultural practice amongst the indigenous people of Ndian County. This method involves clearing a small parcel of land, followed by burning the slash at the end of the dry season, typically in February or March. Planting then commences at the onset of the rainy season, which usually begins in April or May. A variety of primary and staple food crops such as cocoyam, cassava, bananas, yams, and maize are cultivated using this method. While cocoa has traditionally been the most significant cash crop in the area, coffee and oil palm are also cultivated. Recently, large-scale commercial plantations of rubber and oil palm have been established in Ndian County. The terrain of Ndian County is dominated by a sub-montane forest characterized by a low and irregular canopy reaching heights of approximately 15 to 20 meters. Most trees in this area grow to about 35 meters in height, with canopy and foliage cover ranging from 60% to 90%. The herb layer is dense, typically standing at around 1 meter in height. Meanwhile, the shrub layer, which often replaces the tree layer as the canopy, ranges from close to open and can grow to heights of 3 to 7 meters. The canopy is adorned with climbers and various epiphytes, lending the forest a cloud forest appearance, while the steep slopes of this region make the sub-montane forest difficult to access and exploit for timber. Ndian County represents a captivating story woven through its history, tribes, and natural landscape. Its creation in 1975, blending elements of Victoria and Kumba counties, has shaped its identity and development. The population, predominantly rural, engages in shifting cultivation and relies on various natural resources for sustenance. Cash crops like cocoa, coffee, and oil palm play a pivotal role in the county's economy, and commercial plantations have become increasingly prevalent. Ndian County sub-montane forest, with its lush vegetation, climbers, and challenging terrain, contributes to its unique character and enchanting narrative. Well, as always, we'll bring more part to this first part of Ndian County, but for now we've come to the end of the first part. And in the second part, we'll talk about the economic potential of Ndian County, the breadbasket of Amazonia. Stay tuned.
Royal, welcome back to the studio. Thank you so much, Star Smart, for that beautiful editorial there on Indian County. All right, now let's give you some of the reports from the home front that would definitely give you some shock. Now, first off, let's start with this very sad report. Remember, during the week, we started this particular report, but here seems to be a follow-up to the issue as regarding a deaf and dumb lady who died, and then some parts of her body, got missing. Now, the guest for fast cash has pushed many to get engaged in different types of evil practices. Countless stories have been told about mortuary attendants dismembering body parts of corpses they are charged to protect. Not all has just ended at the level of accusations. Mortuary attendants have been brought to book after pleading guilty to harvesting body parts. Now, in some cases, mortuary attendants are part of a network of body part traffickers. A family in whom the chief town of Ndian County has filed a complaint accusing the mortuary attendant of chopping off the right ear of their corpse, an allegation the mortuary attendant denied. The question we have been asking is, what happened to that one ear of the corpse that went missing and some other parts that were also missing? Now, to help us dilute this particular report into bits and pieces for everyone to understand, Tori Pikin, help us do the needful.
Thank you plenty, Oni. For inside this palaver, my country people them for whom the point finger for mortuary man, sika say one ear for their body for that side, for a mortuary, it all lost. This woman when be died, the name na Aqua Ezaga Zenobia. People them when be enter for that place, for go move this woman for that mortuary, be discover say this gondere in face it don't change. Tori book say when them be see this gondere for the as the one carry, they be see say in face the show say in the vex plenty, and again they discover say one for this gondere earring, it be done lost. So they look and so they say wetin happen. Now when they open this coffin, try to fix this gondere earring. Now for there they discover say as it be so this gondere right here, you know dey. Who say this gondere ear no dey? Now there they ask question. So as it be in my country people them, like play, they start them. They carry this woman straight one time. They go with you for that side for whom general hospital. For see and say, may this may it to come, he can talk what happen. For sika this gondere away, it be the lookout and so. Eleso, my country people, now so this palaver it happen. According to this according to the name, according to this mortuary man, he talk say, you know, understand what happen, say na rat. He catch up this my ear. And according to Tori we enter with this man, this mortuary man, he name they call it for that say Bobe. And he talk say na rat he can't chop me this woman he ear so. Now family for this die body, they ask question for Masa Bobe say, what did happen? Answer them. As it be some my country people, it happen have number 10 for inside this very moon.
Thank you so much, Terry Pikin Sue. Now, moving on is also another sad story, and it's also another part of the story we have been bringing to you sometime 2 weeks ago. We brought you of a missing University of Boyer girl. Yes, traumatizing her family because her family has not been able to reach her. The question is, where exactly is she? And the worrying part of this particular report is the fact that someone is using her phone to respond, but the family is very sure that she's not the one. What more can we say? It is a tough one coping with doubt as to whether a relative is still alive or not, having to do the news of a missing family person. This is the present situation of a family in the Atlantic zone of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. The family has not seen nor heard about or know even the whereabouts of their daughter, University of Boyer student, for close to 2 months. The family received a text from the girl's phone saying she was fine and with a friend. It has been 14 days today that a text message has been sent. The family has tried in vain to reach her or get another text message from her, but that has been in vain. The family is worried and is expressing doubt if she is still alive. What we have been asking is, where can she be? Who is she keeping up with? Or who is keeping her? As usual, I would want to Pikinsu to reduce this in all of the language that you can understand.
Yes, my country people them. Small gondere, when a 90-year-old and the name na Ekole Hedwin, in common for house. He come on for number 30 day, for instance September, when a last month we just pass so, and up to now, family, friend them, even enemy for this gondere, they never see this gondere with the eye. Wakaman Kimbi, he there with we, and he get story for book and for we, as well it really happen. Wakaman, me we hear you.
My country people them. Still inside the Tori will be Tori at the other time. As I was on small gondere, be lost so. Then as some wonderful message, will the entire family, after we are picking on loss. Let me say family, self try for right back. For this number will be right for them. But the person nobody replied them. So tell this today. So plenty what they did is get family. They check if that pikin say they fine or wait till they pass with tea for place where they. My country people them. Let me say that for Saturday, number 30 day for September, when 19-year-old a color had drank a bondo, the common has, and no man over here for me. Now so some message will the entire family as well be told you last time. But if you be say 20 people them, they no be here the Tory, or so one way they be here they don't forget them. Some more member on a small how we be pass. Think we had be talking. For inside this message, had be talk and say, me family, me they no worry about see, say they fine for place where they. Say don't gonna for some friend house. And they go to stay for that friend house now, they come out the good school. Self we will be sure check that story fine, say and say no clear. Say man no go just lost na lost so, then we send a the kind message. After we they don't define you, they don't see you, they just send a the kind message so. No, it don't make sense. And the worst thing again, I say, they try for write back for the number, the person they reply. Let me say, hey, join family, they don't feel there's no small, now so checking, they their head. Say how that picking will lost so, then the kind message enter them. The person where the self check the thing pass all man, now his sister, where this message enter a. She can say, be the try for write back for the person, where the talk say be her drying, for nothing where really pass, for no place where he drying day and how it happen. But the person instead deny for reply, then talk na say, me they know the right for a number again, say no be her drying. This talk so, he wore the sister plenty. And it talk say, true, no be na her drying that, because no be na so, her drying they ever right. Say the fear say, her drying days has some big problem. My country people them, the last place where they be see her drying, na for inside Boya for Atlantic Zone for Ambazonia. And as school picking for University of Boya. I beg my people them, if you see her drying for some side, just make a people them know whether they find how it pass with tea. Sika said it to read over strong. The family then also trying to what they did ahead. They no fit sleep fine with a picking day outside, they no fit no place with the picking day. Or if it they fine. Since where this person, they send message for his giant family so, no message never enter again from the person. And they also try for call the person number, or for write message for the person. Person only reply the message, and say the number no the pass. Some more continue to pray for Papa court. Say me show we place for his giant day. And me a giant day fine for place where day. Na me wakaman kimbi, and I talk so na for home front for Undaunted Pigeon News.
All right, moving on. It takes a strong inner conviction to uphold a career as a lady in a field considered solely for men. A young girl has rallied support around her as she takes bike riding as her way of making a living. It will only take an ignorant, minded person to be a parasite feeding on other people's endeavor. It is common now in Ambazonia to see healthy looking young people begging for a living. Not that they are disabled in one way or the other, but this was not the case for this young girl in Victoria who took bike riding as her source of income, not like her peers who will commercialize their bodies to survive. Unfortunately, she died in an accident involving her bike, leaving those who knew her in tears. Cherry Picking Shoe, this is a sad one. What do you have to say?
Me, I go broke and all my country people them. Again, for inside Tori, for today, my country people them. Na palava for accident where it happened for that side for Victoria. We see how we poor Gondere for that side where the one a Ben seeking work, he died so pata sleep for down. But I go give chance me Wakaman, he broke and fine, papa, how the Tori it happen. Wakaman, open up.
My country people them, move take una go to una for that side for Victoria. With some school student teacher for my four for Victoria. We be the run bike, we lost in life inside some accident with the bike. My country people them, let me say, except as where the woman been a student so, it be the run the bike, they make money, for say if he pay them the house rent so, then buy small chop for house. And plenty people them, they be really like this woman. Some of the clients can talk say, this woman will run bike for better kind of way. And it be the run am like a man picking. Say be the self run am, pass some man picking them. My country people them, as we sabi and well, and mostly man picking them, did they ever run bike for inside Ambazonia. And for woman, for do this kind of work, it really make people then clap, and people then say, any man fi do any kind of thing. Them say this woman, it died so, it be really touch plenty people them. This one so, na big loss for inside Ambazonia, especially for people them, for Victoria. More just the pray now say, me the woman rest fine. And me family too, we they get power to support this their loss so. Now me wakamanki.
Well, moving on, the long human rights abuse page of Genocidio La République de Cameroon continues to darken. This is following the death of Reverend Father Andrew Mbezier, incarcerated since 2017 at the Kondengi Maximum Security Prison in Yaoundé on fabricated terrorism charges. Reverend Father Andrew Mbezier was sentenced in 2018 to 12 years in prison and reportedly granted bail in 2019, but was never released until his passing. The Roman Catholic cleric, who hailed from Tizanji local government area in Momo County, faced harassment and repeated interrogations in prison and died in custody on the 11th of October 2023, despite requests for his release as his health deteriorated. Tori Pikin, what do you have to say?
Yes, my country people, as una sabi am, I go broke am all. Every day, for all time, we public them. They only do na bad thing them for inside the country. They continue for do worse thing them. And as it is so, the situation it already was because already time no day. The strong man of God, where he named na Reverend Father Andrew Ambeze, done finally quarrel for number 11 day for inside this October moon. For night, it happens so na for night. Sika Republic, them bad hearts and the bad work the way they do am for people. Republic governor, then be catch this man, then catch this father so na since 2000. Then they go for their worst prison where they call am for their talk say Kunyengi. And this Kunyengi they so na for them capital city for Yam where they call am say Yaminde. As they tip me this father so, they lie only for lie for a name for thing they never do am. And last for 2018, they give this man long 12 year them for stay for inside Konegi. Again, my country people them, they give this man bail for 2019. They will can't discover say lie to lie. Now only for fufu people them. This man, they be still living for the go no place. All these bad things them, when they do and so my country people them. Now LSC say this man, he be the stand for true and he be the support. Say make Republic, they not give suffer we, but in a way, he no correct, and he be the help all Amazonian people there. Tori way he enter for Undaunted Pidgin News, he talk say, this man is sick plenty, so they no fit chop self. They put them, the wicked tea. They not even leave me, this man may go to hospital. Then just this man, like he have the wicked, all other Amazonian people there. If you ask me, I go ask now who. Because see now how it happened for Tori man, Samuel Wazizi. Now the same thing. Then beat me this man so they beat this man, they kill him. Or you want enter another one for Tangem Thomas, where they leave this man a monk and they keep him for inside heavy chain them. So this man he died too. Not be so, now so that they do and so for all sides and for all Amazonian people there. So the tell all man, say me they look out. May no man no for chuki for these people. Republic governor no like we. So maybe stand our foot for ground and maybe observe fine.
Oh well, this is another reason why we must draft. Today we draft Indian. Hope you are ready. Hope you are ready to support Indian whether or not you are from Ndian County. All right. Hope you're learning so much about Indian. Remember, we are not just here to inform you. We are also here to educate you. And as such, every county night, we ensure that you learn a thing or two from the county that is being drafted. So, of course, Star Smart is here with another phase of Indian, something you have to learn. Star Smart, please.
You're welcome back. And now, on to the second part of our editorial on Ndian County for tonight. The economic potential of Ndian County, the breadbasket of Amazonia. Well, over the years, large commercial plantations of rubber and oil palm have been established, highlighting the economic potential of this area. The cultivation of these crops not only contribute to the local economy, but also serves as a significant source of export revenue. Ndian County is predominantly covered by a sub-montane forest characterized by a low and irregular canopy ranging from 15 to 20 meters in height. The trees in this area can grow up to 35 meters, providing ample foliage cover ranging from 60 to 19%. As said, the herb layer in this forest is dense, reaching a height of 1 meter, while the shrub layer replaces the tree layer, with height ranging from 3 to 7 meters. The presence of climbers and epiphytes give the forest a cloud forest appearance. However, due to the steep slope, accessing the sub-montane forest for timber exploitation is challenging and often avoided. Despite the difficulties in timber exploitation, artisanal logging has occurred in the area, resulting in monocrop plantation and regrowth fields in the lowland forest. Well, that established, this highlights the potential for sustainable forestry practices in Ndian County, which could generate economic growth while preserving the natural beauty and biodiversity of the region. In terms of education and healthcare, Ndian County boasts numerous primary schools, including mission schools, public schools, training colleges, and lay private schools. However, the health centers in the area are mostly dilapidated, requiring attention and investment to provide quality healthcare services to the local population. Well, unfortunately, despite the immense economic potential of Ndian County, its resources exploitation has for the most part occurred in the dark, benefiting only external entities, while the local community remains underdeveloped. This disparity between resource wealth and community development can be attributed to historical factors, including colonial exploitation and ongoing conflicts in the region. Ndian County is indeed the breadbasket of Amazonia, offering most vast possibility for economic development. Its traditional shifting cultivation practices, lucrative cash crop fertile soils, and natural resources make it a region of great potential. However, it is imperative that local communities are empowered and given the necessary support to fully benefit from these resources. Efforts should be made to ensure sustainable practices such as responsible logging and inclusive economic policies to uplift the community and build a prosperous future for Ndian County. The biodiversity, cultural, and touristic attractions of Ndian County is something we look at right now. Ndian County, located in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon, is a region of remarkable biodiversity, cultural heritage, and vibrant touristic attractions. Nestled amidst lush forest, pristine beaches, and picturesque landscapes, Ndian County offers a diverse array of natural wonders, cultural experiences, and recreational activities that captivates the heart and minds of visitors. Now, this piece aims to highlight the unique features of Ndian County, emphasizing its rich biodiversity, cultural significance, and its emergence as a premier tourist destination. First and foremost, Ndian County boasts exceptional biodiversity, making it a haven for nature enthusiasts. With its tropical rainforest and expansive mangrove swamps, the region is teeming with a wide variety of plant and animal species. The vast array of flora within these ecosystems contribute to the vitality of the region, while also supporting the numerous animal species that call Ndian County home. Now, from the iconic forest elephants to the elusive gorillas and chimpanzees, Ndian County offers the opportunity to witness these majestic creatures in their natural habitats. Additionally, bird-watching enthusiasts can indulge in the captivating sight of brightly colored birds, contributing to the region's status as a bird-watching paradise. In addition to its abundant biodiversity, Ndian County is steeped in cultural heritage. The diverse ethnic groups residing in the region, including the Oroko, Umbo, and Balondon people, continue to preserve their cultural traditions, customs, and languages. Visitors to Ndian County have the opportunity to immerse themselves in these vibrant cultures through traditional dances, music, and local first festivals. These cultural experiences serve as a gateway for tourists to gain deeper insights into the history, beliefs, and way of life of the Indian County communities. Moreover, the region's unique handicraft, such as woven fabrics, wood carving, and pottery, exemplify the rich artistic traditions that have been passed down through generations. Indian County also offers an exciting range of touristic attractions, making it an ideal getaway for adventure seekers. The stunning coastal landscape, adorned with pristine beaches and crystal clear waters, create the perfect backdrop for water-based activities. Now, visitors can indulge in snorkeling, diving, and fishing along the coastline, exploring the mesmerizing coral reefs and discovering the abundant marine life. The region's numerous waterfalls, such as the breathtaking Kumba and Kondotiti Falls, provide opportunities for hiking, picnicking, and swimming. Furthermore, Ndian County's national parks, such as the Ekok Wildlife Center and Korup National Park, offer ecotourism and safari experiences that allow visitors to witness the beauty of the natural landscapes and encounter rare animal species. As Ndian County continues to emerge as a premier tourist destination, efforts are being made to develop sustainable tourism practices that preserve the region's fragile ecosystem and cultural heritage. Community-based tourism initiatives aim to empower local communities, enriching their livelihoods by providing employment and income generation opportunities. Furthermore, these initiatives stress the importance of preserving and conserving the biodiversity and cultural heritage of Ndian County for future generations to enjoy. Ndian County in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroons offer a fascinating blend of biodiversity, cultural heritage, and touristic attractions. With its lush forests, pristine beaches, and captivating landscape, the region provides a haven for nature enthusiasts and adventure seekers alike. Through its rich cultural traditions, visitors have the opportunity to connect with the vibrant communities that call Ndian County home. As tourism continues to flourish, efforts to preserve the region's fragile ecosystems and cultural heritage are essential to ensure the long-term sustainability of this unique destination. Well, with these beautiful facts and touristic sites of Ndian County, we've come to the end of this very part. And in the very last part, the third part of our editorial on Ndian County, what are we looking at? The anthropological history of Ndian County in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroons.
That was amazing, Stars. Ma, thank you very much. Welcome back, fellow viewers. I'll give you a brief recap of the discussion we've had thus far with Barrister Tim Besea and Barrister Fru. As we continue to discover Ndian, we have been discussing on the importance and the strategic positioning of this county, why it is a national duty. We've also examined the need for leadership. We're talking about the county leaderships most especially, to consider enhancing or escalating or beefing up their collaboration. We've called on general national support for the county. And we will be moving into the CDN very briefly. We'll be moving into the CDN 3 debacle and the mysterious resolutions that have been sent out there. But perhaps Barrister Fro and Barrister Tim will want to say a very brief word on Dian, because we'll still come to conclude on Dian before we transition into the Zoom. And I want to remind all those who are watching us that you share the Zoom link, share it as wide as possible. We still expecting many more people to join the Zoom. I'm actually looking at those who have already joined now. We're having people joining already. We would like you to join the Zoom. We would also like you to invite somebody to be a part to it. because on top of the hour, we are fortunately for us, that Jonas has given us more time, so we can have a few more minutes to cover our discussion of this evening. But you have to join the Zoom now. Please, I'm calling on all those who are watching us. Keep sharing even the Zoom link. I'll be putting on the Zoom link at the comment section of ABC on Facebook. So you can still watch us on different platforms, but join the Zoom link and join it right away. Barrister Fru, let me start with you, please.
Yes. Ndian, Ndian, we have exhausted what we needed to say about Ndian. Are we now starting this CDN debacle?
I know you cannot wait. Barrister Ambessa, you have to give us clearance for that. If he doesn't have any more comment to give about Ndian for now, then we can dive into it. Barrister Ambessa.
Well, I think we have said all what is necessary to know publicly about Ndian. And so
Yeah.
it's left for the technicians, the county executives, the National Defense Council to know what to do, how to do it, and then we
Yeah.
move on. Again, Ndian, without Ndian, there is no Ambazonia. And let me add something you said. See, Victoria is hosts the whole Cameroon Navy. It is based in Victoria, not
Yeah.
because they love the sea there. No, it is to police
No.
the ocean Indian.
Yeah.
The B are based in Victoria, not because they
Mm-hmm.
love Victoria. No, it is to police the sensitive part of Amazonia. So, with the
Yeah.
interest that Yaoundé shows on Amazonia, particularly Victoria and Ndian, because Ndian is the only one and Victoria that have access to the sea. And so the sea is important, very, very important for this struggle, for the survival of Amazonia. Remember, they even handed this Cameroon to British handed Cameroon to France, yeah, because they wanted them to have access to the sea. So the sea was and still an important aspect of the war. At the time, they didn't know all these resources found in the waters. Again, as I've said, whereas the palm trees would grow, will fall and die, the cocoa would die, the resources inside the sea, under the ground, remain there permanently. So we invest
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves, we invest for our future generation. Let us draft on Dian. The technicians take note, exploit the
Mm-hmm.
best we can do to be sure that Indian survives. And with Indian survival, Ambazonia will survive. Thank you.
That's amazing. Now, just so I can give a backdrop for the discussion and the CDN3 debacle, we've had the chance to talk to some individuals who were represented in Canada, and I would say it's a flop. Some from the home front, I'm considering I have to discuss with ABC and the government to see if I could get them to come and also tell us, bring us into the room, what happened in Canada. Feel frustrated because what the document that has been released is saying is totally different from what was there. According to reliable information from a participant, I don't want to call her name yet, but if she agrees for us to talk with her on TV, then I'll call her name. Those who were written on this document were not represented. In fact, the meeting in Canada was a flop. And whatever is in this document I'm going through right now is doctored by somebody to portray or to give a false impression. And that's why you see in their enlistment, you have them. You have the independent delegates, Southern Cameroons not affiliated to groups. Independent delegates, Southern Cameroon not affiliated to groups. I don't know what that means. You have Ambazonian International Policy Commission. I don't know where this one is coming from. Ambazonian Prisoners of Conscience. that definitely should be Konengi behind such addition. Ambazonia prisoners of war, Bafut 7 Qatar, Ambazonia. Now, when you see they start putting Bafut 7 Qatar, the word of Babsi, the Unity Warriors that we understand is already dead. When they're putting all of these to give some substance, that the home front itself,
The Bambalang Marines, and so on.
the Bamba Marines, and all of that. It is a long list of individuals who have duplicated themselves. Some of them, they are with their women. You have the terminators of Ambazonia TTA. You have the interim government IG Care. You have the West Cameroon Association. And the one and only one question I want to ask myself is, what do these individuals represent? What are their groups doing currently? And how have they impacted the struggle thus far? And they are saying that they want to create it's all about the money and control, and Cameroon trying to remix the leadership of the struggle so that they can get a group to manipulate. They are saying, based on this document, that they want a central treasury. First of all, my question is, can they tell us what they have been doing with their own resources that they do as individuals before we can get a central treasury? And is Ambazonia not centrally represented in the Ambazonia National Treasury? There's a lot for us to talk about. But Afru, maybe you should keep the ball rolling.
Yes, Paddy, I read that document, and it was to me, it's trash. It's trash because that's the work of one or two people who sat down and put down the so-called resolutions. All these things happen in all revolutions around the world. It is not strange. It wasn't strange to me. This is the work of the enemy. CDN has been put in place by the enemy. They are meeting for the third time. Canada 3. What have the other two produced? Nothing. What will this one produce? Nothing. So I don't think we should spend quality time talking about nothing. Because if you look at even the so-called proxy fighters for La République du Cameroun are not even represented. Ayabacho, Akpanka, and God knows what. Mbakoro. Mbakoro was the only problem, is the only name that I saw there. And I can tell you that it is a loud sounding nothing. A group of women drawn from 58 divisions of La République du Cameroun flew to Canada to go and attend this so-called conference. And they took the floor on behalf of La République du Cameroun, claiming that they are there for peace. Well, again, it is the work of the enemy. All we need to do is to take precaution, make sure that we stay as far as possible from those idiots, but we watch their actions. Let them not torpedo our work, that we are on the way to Boya, and there's nothing that is going to stop us. But we must be very careful with such kind of meetings. It is so shallow. That resolution, I tried to look, Paddy, maybe you can look for me. Who signed it? Nobody. I didn't see any signatures there. That is to me, that is a what you call what do they call it again? Trash. It's not a legal document.
Now, the fun about it, Barrister Fru, is that a cross section of those you call the women who went there felt embarrassed even participating because they didn't even understand. And the interest here, Barrister Mbesa, is how Cameroon.
Now, Paddy, let me tell you why they felt embarrassed. They felt embarrassed because if you look somewhere inside that revolution, they talk about the war, they talk about how we have to fight to recover our country and so on and so on. Inside, in the middle, if you read that, you will see. That is why the women who went there hoping that they will hold brief for La Republic, they were so embarrassed that somewhere along in that resolution, they was instead talking about the freedom of the southern Cameroon, and that's
Perhaps,
understandable. But they were paid and financed by La Republic du Cameroon.
perhaps that could just be one of the reasons. But some concerns which I've had, like I said, if she would agree, we could have to talk on her, so her to tell us her frustration. There's one concern, but my point, Barrister Mbesa, is why is Cameroon so desperate to just do it right? They keep cutting corners and try to do the same thing over and over again and expecting another result. Barrister Mbesa, please.
Yes, Paddy. You see, that's what, as Barrister says, happens in all revolutions. But that should not be our concern. Our concern should be to look at this document, to look at what has been going on, from specifics
Yeah.
of Ambazonia, the Ambazonians taking part in it. Let me start my analysis with the CDN. I heard them defending themselves. I even saw Mark Brother, oh, they are the best people. But let me say this and take my word to them. Toronto 1, Toronto 2, Toronto 3 is the work of CDN. CDN is sponsored by Yaoundé, and these are the facts. Toronto 1 was convened by the CDN. One of their main major things to do there was to derail the Swiss-led initiative. And look at resolutions of Toronto 1. They came out and said, well, CDN is quite a good thing, but we would prefer the CDN to be our mediators. That's in Toronto 1. In Toronto 2, CDN was the moderator. After accepting the Grand National Dialogue and all whatnot, they wrote it there in black and white. Our future negotiation shall be led by the CDN. It's written there in black and white. It's not me saying it. Toronto 3, we are told people just jump from the moon and sign up to the meeting. Yes? And then how did CDN become the facilitator? They jumped from the sky and just became moderators, facilitators? No. It doesn't happen like that all the time. It rarely does it even happen. What I want our brothers and sisters listening to understand is this. You see, the Republic and its allies, they are scammers of the first grade. They are scammers. And that is what those women who came from home are. They are scammers. Yes, they told us by their own narration, oh, we're sponsored by the United Nations. Oh, 2019, they passed the UN resolution. Yes, those resolutions are passed, but they are implemented based on national laws. Let those women who claim to be talking for the women folk in Cameroon, how many CPDM rallies have they addressed to raise the issue of war? How many times have we gone to see Parliament, the so-called Parliament, to call him to order? They talk about schools. How many times have they gone to the street to say the killing of the children in Kumba, in Boya, in Garbu was wrong? No, they didn't do it. They were sponsored, paid for by Yaoundé. If they were not paid for by Yaoundé, they do not go back. Many of us remember this young man, Abdul Karim, who attended the first initial meeting of a Swiss-led initiative. When he went back to Yaoundé, he was arrested. So this thing is CDN. The problem that we face is that most of our people who are actually intellectuals don't know what they are doing. Yeah, like you're talking about those resolutions, they don't need to reflect what they said there. They invite you to participate as a coverage. You come and participate. The resolutions come out. You can no longer say that you did not participate, because their participation did not come with resolution. You came out talking about what you wanted to talk, and what they were just like national dialogue. Your talking did not resolve anything. For example, I saw my friend Atemkin. He was just crying foul. All people should come and cry referendum, and the United Nations will give us. He had talked about his referendum there. He poured out his lungs. But what did he feature in the resolution? No. They bring you to participate, like they brought Christian Toomey to come and participate. Then they made him chair of this decentralization. Aragwambala. So they will come out with what they wanted, and they will bind you because you participated. But that said, let us see what, you see, it's good for us to see what this is really talking about. Let me go to this resolution. Give me a second. I just locked out of them. The resolutions, among other things, let us start from what they resolve to do. Forget about all the big grammar up there. What did they say in resolution 1? The resolution 1, sorry, let me look for it. You just send it to me.
Yeah, please, just
Resolution
go ahead.
1. Yeah, the resolution 1, what did it say? 1, we resolve 1. 1, on collaboration within the liberation, whatever nonsense they call it there, to establish a Southern Cameroon People's Secretariat to work together to coordinate all the activities pertaining to the prosecution of the Southern Cameroon struggle. A secretariat to work together, to do all that. Well, and then they go further. The secretary will have 3 spokespersons. Yes, and then we'll hit the secretary. We don't know. It's not named there. Why are they hiding this? That's simple to say, well, we've elected a secretary. We've been talking about whatever council they wanted to form. Now to call a secretariat. This is the head of the secretariat. So these people will just be going there fighting for the war. They will have spokespeople without a leader. The secretariat is headed by who? We don't know. Would they have a leader? Of course. So I don't need to do it further to see what they are talking about. They want to work, they want to work with the active forces on the ground. They are still dealing with their ground zero leadership, which they are ashamed to call the name. They work with the stakeholders in ground zero at the home front. That's what they want to work with. Then who are these people in the home front? You can now go to the final list. Attendees, because we don't have a lot of time. Attendees. Independent delegates. These are people who attended. Independent delegates, not allied to groups. Ambassador International Policy Commission. So who are these independent people? Not allied to groups. Let us call the IG a group. Let us call our AGOFC a group. Let us call all what we have been doing a group. Every person a group. You are not allied to them. But remember, the war did not start in 2023. We have been there for 7 years. So you want to come and set another new structure called the Secretariat, ignoring those who have fought for the past 5, 6, 7 years with your own creation of a leadership from the home front. And what are those people from this home front? You will see them, interestingly, they include the ones you have named, who are all scammers. I saw among them the Red Dragons, who know that for the past 2 years, the Red Dragons saw nothing. And I've asked them to show me somebody who presented himself in Toronto and called himself the Red Dragon. These are scammers. The Red Dragon? You're working, it was in Canada. And then, of course, to make things worse, you look at the resolution 9. They talk about how they'll do the financing. Then they go on in resolution 9. We thank each and every Southern Cameroonian who in one way or the other has contributed to the outcome of this document, not conference, this document. We also thank the international stakeholders, including governments and international organizations, for the support. We welcome their continued support. Who are these international? They have told us that they finance this thing out of their pocket. And who are these international stakeholders and governments that gave them money that they are refusing to tell us? This is a public thing. See, we thank the government of Canada for giving us space. We thank the government of Great Britain, whoever you want to put there, for giving us the finance. Because you pay hotels, you pay flights. So why are you hiding these facts from people? Why are we not knowing this? And then, of course, that is, it speaks for itself. This thing is a republic thing. So when these people, among the things they want to do, they want to go and do diplomacy. They want to coordinate humanitarian assistance. So, for example, we in the IG, we have a whole diplomatic setup. So when they go to Great Britain or to America to look for recognition, they say, well, who do you stand for? We're coming for the secretariat. What the secretariat? Then they say, what? They say, well, we're dealing with certain Sako. No, not new Sako. We are the secretariat. They go to Britain, wherever they go, they call the secretariat, and the work that, let me just give it for the benefit of that. The work that Mr. Cho Ayaba has done, because he claims to have done so much. He has gone to Norway. He has done all this. We just go in vain because they are not working with us. We are not there with them. These groups are not there with them. Then the one, Dr. Tita, who has invested so much money, who have pumped in so much money to refugees in Nigeria, doing humanitarian assistance. These guys will come and coordinate their new organization to deal with humanitarian assistance. These are gangsters. These are gangsters. So my advice to them, if I were them, and this should go to any other Southern community, forming a third, a fourth, a fifth, a 10th more group is not helping us. We already have enough groups. Evaluate the groups that exist. Support the group that you like. But you cannot just support. Let them transform this nonsense they have created. They will best serve the country if they transform that thing into a think tank. Reflect on, for example,
I'm on television.
Reflect on, for example, diplomacy, and send their findings, their recommendations to the government. And so we are dealing with scammers. It is dead on arrival. And I'm happy those women had the pinch of it. And what did they say? Well, I followed one of their discussions on Zoom, recorded. So, well, we have been talking. They said, but why are you leaving all this francophone to be killing our children? Say, no, we're talking to their wives. He talked to the wives of Banqui. He talked to the wife of the soldiers. Hey, they are part of you, the women. Then how are you talking about your wives? Why are you not moving as a woman to Mr. Banqui and say, look, stop killing children? Because that group, which is under the UN, it should call the whole Cameroon. It should address the government of Cameroon. And of course, they mistakenly, stupidly licked the cat out of the bag by calling Ambazonians separatists. Say, we'll talk to the separatists. So they have nowhere to hide. That thing is dead on arrival. It's not a thing for us, like Hassan says, to waste our time on it. We didn't go there. So we didn't prevent them from going there. Let them implement what they have resolved, rightly or wrongly. Let them go to the field and do it. Thank you.
So the fact about it is Cameroon scheming and using those who are sellouts to dismantle our liberation movement, our architecture for this liberation movement, and then to look for a way to narrow it down into an internal crisis, because it's all an attempt to despise our argument, which authenticates the government and the stance of the government. I believe I am very correct with that. So I agree with you.
Let me just say something there before. Let me just say something there. That's what they are trying to do. And they are using the CDN. They are using the CDN because it's a local thing. And let the CDN be reminded. This is their homework. Let them know there is no way the CBDN will be mediators in this struggle. No way. You will never be. Because if you are a true Ambazonian, the people will reject you in the first place because you cannot be fair. The scheming of CDN to be all moderators, facilitators, doing this is to help Yaoundé say, well, we have addressed the issue. We can do it locally. CDN, stop disgracing us. I know some of the individuals who belong to that chain of things. So that's the whole goal of Yaoundé. And if you don't do it their way, they use the CDN to Canada too.
Yeah.
When Canada too was going out of control, they talk about negotiating, they kicked them out and said, we were not there. That was not your mission. So there's no CDN, let them have this as the lesson. Have all your expertise. Give us the expertise if you need it. But stop dreaming that you'll be mediators in this thing. You can never be mediator. You don't have the political capacity. You may have the intellectual ability, but you don't have the political capacity to do mediation of this magnitude. You have never done one before. You cannot do it.
And you will not do
Give
it.
your input. You will not do it. Give your input. We will use it as you like. And some of us have become so mad, so drunken with Tibo Nash. Tibo Nash is a private individual giving an opinion. Oh, deciding, he was in Canada, and so what? And so what? And those who see talk referendum, those who believe that you can just go to another, come and do a referendum. They will just come and do it for you. You are lying. You are deceiving yourself. That will never happen. It does never happen anywhere. Nobody has ever moved to the United Nations.
This whole referendum debacle as well, it contextually does not even go. When you start talking about referendum, there are one of two things or both involved. Like Chris Arnold, I know very well that he's first and foremost very limited when it comes to understanding as far as the context of a referendum is concerned. Nobody's going to remove that from my head. Number two, it's easy or easier to use an ignorant person and to use the person as a sellout. Because at the time Chris Arnold started thinking and talking about referendum, his idea, he spoke about that with Ochiba in 2020, that's 3 years ago. The referendum thing, it was partly based on ignorance. It was an idea that was sold to him. And I tell people, without his monologues, he is void. You believe this or not, I'm telling you, I've worked with him. He does not. Now look at the way, I'm going to play the president's audio on this issue of a referendum before we get out of here now. Chris Arnold cannot understand our history and the purpose of not accepting this referendum like the president understands. I'm not even trying to compare them. I'm just saying that those who are talking about referendum, they are doing so from two perspectives or two standpoints. It's either they are ignorant of the technicalities involved or they have just been corrupted. And very few of them, out of their ignorance, have been corrupted to even think about this, because the CDN is also driving towards that direction. And that's why and that's what even Tibo Nash said he was saying there. Tibo Nash told us, when he came out from there, he tweeted and said, this is what I've told them, that they should go and do a referendum. When Chris Arnold was claiming that he has registered Ambazonia, another disgrace, very disgraceful thing to say. When he was saying that, Tibo Nash prior to that time was also is now like a PRO or like a public relation officer for him, because he publicizes. In fact, for those who are not aware, the interim government for the past how many years has been working with lobbyists in America. I'm not going to give you details more than that. So working with a lobbyist that has his own strategy is not a new thing. And you've heard it from the president, it's not possible to register a government anywhere. If some of them, like Mike Fusi, or whatever you call him, was trying to criticize, but he was just being stupid because he did not come to answer the questions. The president challenged them and he said, if you have registered us, it should be a public information. Can we see the proof of the registration? We should see it. And even the application that was made, Dr. Munga forwarded a document to me, and Dr. Patience, is showing that it was registered from Cameroon. And it is not a government that was registered. And it is still an application. And the judge is yet to even accept the application. They have just acknowledged receipt. So this is all, I'm joining everything together because of time. But you realize these are all partners in crime working together to achieve the exact same thing. I respect your opinions that we should not talk much about the CDN. We'll have to go back to Ndian. But before we go back to Ndian, let's just conclude very briefly on this, Barrister Fro. Yes, conclude very briefly on it.
Yes.
Let's go back to Ndian
Yes.
and over the mic.
Yes, Paddy. All these things, all this CDN and all these people moving up and down, CDN and so on, they must have an objective. What is the objective of these conferences in Canada? Are they going to try to get a country like Canada to become a mediator? They should be informed that this interim government cannot accept Canada any longer as a mediator because Canada has chosen a side. The participation of the foreign minister of Canada, who represents the Canadian government, is clear that Canada is not an impartial partner to work with. So they can hold 20, 30 meetings in Canada, hoping that they will get Canadian government to act like a mediator during the negotiating process, if there will be a negotiation. Number two, are they trying to force themselves into the negotiating table? As what? Because as far as the whole world knows, those that are fighting on the ground are represented by the interim government. The interim government is fighting and the interim government is doing diplomacy. Now, are you going to say that you CDN, Women for Peace and whatever you call them, and all these jobless people running to Canada and coming back, that they will now, without fighting the war, without being involved in the war, they can now go and sit on the negotiation table to say that they represent who and what, and that will stop the war? That's why from the beginning I said these people don't have, the La Republique is panicking. And I will tell you why, Paddy. I have said this, but let me repeat myself. This year's General Assembly has been very traumatizing for La Republique. Eugene Mbela, the foreign minister of La Republique, went to the United Nations and climbed on the podium and spoke to the world and lied to the world that things are returning to normal, peace is gradually coming back to Cameroon. The government is working very hard with the international partners to ensure that they do reconstruction. They have created what they call rehabilitation centers and so on and so on. And after his speech, Paddy, he was invited by the Secretary General of the United Nations. And you know, in that United Nations, most things there, you see, most of the things that are discussed, they come out in the back door. Even if you are discussing in an office, somebody is eavesdropping. And I happen to have gotten the real story. And somebody published the same thing that I said on WhatsApp. And what did the Secretary General tell him? For 7 years, you have been coming here and telling us that you are handling it, you are doing this, you are doing that. We had Mr. Ford telling lies about what was happening, and the United Nations did everything to replace Mr. Ford. The United Nations Special Representative now is telling us the truth. Now you come here and you lie. And we have looked away, hoping that after a while you'll be able to solve this problem so that peace can return to that part of your country, which is occupied by English-speaking people. May I remind you that those English-speaking people were not part of your country. They joined you to form a country, and you renege on the agreement. They have a right to self-determination. Look at the number of people that have been killed. Look at this genocide, the crime of the genocide, and so on and so on. And we have looked away, hoping that your government will do something to stop this. Go and tell your boss that if nothing is done, the United Nations will take its responsibility. And Eugene Bellam told the Secretary General, I am going to pass the message to the President of the Republic. And he took that message to Yaoundé. Bam! Canada now became a very important operation. Bam! They are now going around there trying to see how they can show the world that they are handling something. So allow them to be fumbling. We will allow them to be fumbling. If they cannot get to the negotiating table, so be it. Let them fumble. Let them fumble. By the time that God in His infinite mercy will collapse their system, we will be free. And we don't, even if the United Nations refuse the independence that they gave us on the 21st of April 1961, we will remain like Somaliland. Like, if you listen to me, the United Nations today doesn't mean any damn thing. Somaliland is functioning. United Nations is a club of friends in the West and the East. They protect their interests. Africa has not seen a reason for being in the United Nations. If they don't reform the United Nations, that is it. Africa should withdraw from the United Nations because we don't need it. They are the one. Africa is the richest continent in the world, and the rest of the world has enriched itself from Africa. They need us. We don't need them. They have used us. They have used our human resources as slaves to grow their cotton fields in America, to grow their cotton field, to do their jobs in Europe, to do their jobs wherever the European settlers were. But the time has come to stop. So we don't need the United Nations. If the United Nations is minded to recognize our independence, which the General Assembly voted, let them do it. If they don't want to, La Republique, God will give us freedom if we continue to fight, and La Republique will collapse, and we will block the borders and become our own country. We have the sea, we have the land, we have everything. We can go in and come out as we are not like the Gaza Strip.
Ambassador, you just brought in a very important element in the discussion, which I don't want us to expand on it because it will take us hours. It brings me back to what the president said about 2 weeks ago during the Meet the Press with the South African press. You saw a leadership who went back down to history. Our international boundaries or borders were never given by the United Nations. So we can match them up at any time if they would continue with fraud. Our boundaries were clearly demarcated before the existence of the United Nations. Thank you very much. We'll have to get back.
That is correct.
And very briefly,
That's correct.
we'll be talking about the anthropological history of Ndian. That will take us just about 5 minutes. We'll come there and give encouraging words and have everybody join the president in the Zoom so that we can begin the draft of tonight. Stay tuned.
Well, on to the last part of our editorial for tonight on Ndian County, the anthropological history of Ndian County in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon. Anthropology plays a crucial role in understanding the diverse cultures and historical development of societies around the world. This portion of study will certainly explore the anthropological history of Ndian County, located in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon. By delving into the county's past, we can gain a deeper insight into the customs, traditions, and social dynamics that have shaped its unique identity over time. The historical overview of Ndian County is one of the 4 counties that constitute the present-day Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Its history dates back to ancient times when pre-colonial ethnic groups resided in the area. These groups including the Oroko, Bakosi, Douala, Mundani, and Umbo, each with distinct cultural practices and languages. Now, the colonial influence in the late 19th century saw European powers scramble for territories in Africa. In 1884, German colonial forces arrived in what is now Cameroon, and Ndian County became part of the German protectorate. The colonial influence significantly impacted the cultural landscape of the region. German authorities introduced a new administrative systems that imposed their language and sought to exploit the county's natural resources for economic gains. The cultural assimilation and resistance. Well, during the German colonial era, cultural assimilation efforts were made, aiming to erode the traditional practices and beliefs of the indigenous people. However, the local communities fiercely resisted these attempts, preserving their languages, customs, and traditional governance structures. This resistance laid the foundation for the strong cultural identity seen in Ndian County today. Now, the transition to British rule. After World War I, Germany lost its colonies and Ndian County came under the British control as part of British Cameroon. The British administration inherited the German infrastructure, but the impact on the local culture was less pronounced than that of the previous colonial power. Nevertheless, British influence brought advancements in education and infrastructure, which gradually transformed the socio-economic dynamics of the county. The independence and post-colonial era. In 1961, British Cameroon held a plebiscite leading to the county's integration into the newly formed Federal Republic of Cameroon. The decolonization era brought both opportunities and challenges to Ndian County. The integration meant that the county was now part of a diverse nation, requiring the local communities to navigate shared governance and socio-economic policies. Then the contemporary challenges and cultural preservation. Ndian County faced various challenges in the modern era: rapid urbanization, climate change, and economic disparities pose threats to the sustainability of traditional livelihoods. However, the people of Ndian County have continued to take pride in their cultural heritage and have implemented measures to preserve and promote their customs and traditions. Well, in conclusion, the anthropological history of Ndian County in the Atlantic zone of southern Cameroon reveal a rich tapestry of cultural diversity, resilience, and adaptation. From the pre-colonial era to the present, the county has experienced the influence of different colonial powers and undergone significant socio-cultural challenges and changes. Despite these challenges, Ndian County's indigenous communities have managed to maintain their unique identity and contribute to the rich cultural mosaic that defines the region. Well, with this, we've come to the end of the editorial on Ndian County. I'm sure you like what you just saw. And if you want more of such interesting articles, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of the winning strategy. Find out payment details on your screen. I am Star Smart reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV. The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices.
Let our fallen heroes and heroines guide and shield our men and women. Let their ultimate sacrifice be the reason we change the game and give our enemies what they have been giving us. Ambazonia needs to protect its people from the terrorist troops of La République du Cameroon. The time is now to do just that.
We are enough, so let's draft, and draft. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It's time for Ndian County.
Welcome back. That was the ambience there coming from Ndian County, and it is worth noting that this is the county of Ambazonia's first lady, and we're all called upon to take it so seriously. There's something I said last year, and I've not forgotten. If you know the sacrifice that it would take for a woman to sacrifice her husband or to give up her husband like she would have given the president to serve us, then you would want to support her for this draft. It is very vital that Ambazonians should rally together tonight to support the First Lady who hails from Ndian County. Gentlemen, I'd like you to give your final words. We have a few minutes to do that as we will be handing over the mic to the county authorities to continue the night. Barrister Fru, maybe I should start with you.
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to call on all Ambazonians around the world to rally today to the draft of Ndian County. The federal government has taken upon itself to draft the Ndian County. And that shows you the importance of Ndian. That shows you that Ndian is the epicenter of our economy. So everybody, meaningful Ambazonians, if you have not done anything for this draft, today is the day, because you'll be counted for having protected Ndian. We need to rally around Ndian and protect our economic basket. Players Ambazonians, if you are listening to me, whatever you have, put your hand in your pocket and give it to Ndian, so that those vibrant Ambazonian restoration forces in Ndian should have what it takes to take La Republic out of the land of Ndian. We may not be able to take them out of the sea, our sea, because we don't have a navy, but they should not be walking on our land and exploiting our land and getting and propping their economy to the detriment of the people of the southern Cameroon. Because for the last how many years today, Cameroon has not given any kind of development to the southern Cameroons. But if you look at how much the southern Cameroon has contributed to its economy for all these years, these are people who have stolen from us. We need to do everything to drive them out, especially from Ndian. And I want to congratulate our ARFs in Ndian who have been doing a marvelous job. Their surgical operations in Mondimba kept me dancing all night. Please follow me and support Ndian. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barrister Mbesa, please.
Let me put 3 simple points. Let us start with the CDN3. This is a message to all Ambazonians. Yaoundé is in a panic form. There's no doubt about that. They're in a panic form. That's why you have Canada 3. Because if the raining of guns on our children, on our people, had succeeded, they would not have had any reason to arrest Agwambala and the rest and lock them up in prison. If the arrest, detention, and subsequent release had succeeded, there would have been no Grand National Dialogue. If the Grand National Dialogue had succeeded, we would never have had Toronto 1, Toronto 2, Toronto 3. If the Prime Minister's visit to Bamenda and Boya had succeeded, we would not be where we are today, still trying to get all this. So we're in the right path. Draft, draft, and draft. We shall win. And to our women, we are lucky they were here. Not every woman could have come on this trip. If I were a woman, why would not come? Yes, would not come. Those are powerful CPDM surrogates, powerful CPDM wives. I'm sure they carry the message back home. If they didn't carry the message back home, the people there, Mr. Paul Bia, his surrogates, can listen to the debates, can see how their feet were held to the fire. Our sisters, our mothers who were in that delegation have to get back to their normal senses. And finally, again, to our referendum advocates, I once heard a certain Sama Thomas put out an audio challenging me to go and debate referendum with him. Well, I don't have the time for that. But your narrative, the narrative of referendum advocate has always been, we want a United Nations supervised referendum. Very good thing. But you must add the first part of it. Put out your documentation on the first part to convince us. Not supervised, organized plebiscite. Who is going to organize it? For the UN to supervise. Organization goes, I've said it many times, there's a lot in organization. You have to register the voters. You have to create the polling stations. Let them tell us, those registered, whether there will not be a polling station, a registration created by Elecam to do your very referendum that you are very much looking for. A referendum is a distraction at this point. Again, let's draft from Ndian. Ndian draft comes after Toronto 3. It should be a spare. It should be something to make us wake up and realize that I've said, like Frontier, they used to talk about Frontier, small not be sick. The small size of Ndian is not an illness. Small not be sick. Let us draft from Ndian. Let's draft for the president and his wife because they are part and parcel of Ndian. The wife is from there. Their children are part of Ndian. And so they are part of us. As soon as Ndian is free, all of us shall be free. There will be no freedom for Ambazonia without the freedom of Ndian. Again, we don't need to depend on all these maps and so on. The other thing I got from Tibonash is you get your independence if you fight for it. Fight and you get it. There was never any official boundary between Southern Sudan and Sudan. They fought and they got a country of theirs called Southern Sudan. The United Nations, the Americans, the British were forced to recognize it. So don't expect the United Nations to come and give you a country. No, you have to fight and fight until you get yours, and somebody will recognize it. They don't give you a medal until you play and win. So let's draft on there. Again, small not be sick. The few restoration fighters that we have there, they are up to the task. They have done what other people could not do in bigger counties with the limited resources that they have. They will do more, and we pray they will do more. Let us add more to the basket. Let us add more to the encouragement. Let us push them across the line. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Mbesa. Thank you very much, Barrister Fru, for always creating the time to be with us. It has, like Onye said earlier on, this has not just been informative, it has been educative, and I would also say that it has been entertaining. I'll take the opportunity at this time as we transition into the Zoom meeting for the draft proper to start by thanking all the stakeholders of ABC Amber Television, most especially the club members, the patrons and board, for all their generosity and heart and selflessness to ensuring that we are able to provide to the world the untold story of Amazonia. Thank you once again. Tonight is Ndian County. We look forward to see everybody. I'm made to understand that the president is already in the Zoom meeting. We hope that you that's watching us on Facebook and on YouTube will immediately join us. I will be stopping the stream on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to stream only at the home front so that you all can join the president as we draft for the bread basket of Amazonia. See you shortly.
Son Excellence, Abate Edi et Madame Madia, venez-vous, soutenez, comment? Hey! Comment célébrer Twitos? Comment célébrer Twitos? Wari yetu kuya mokara kesere wakuwe, jesa dofele ke bana ba woroko mabobo, nya esende mo basio. Oroko people they dey celebrate. Oh, Oroko people let us celebrate. Hata itwe pita mbongo, monsieur le préfet, itongi basu salira kakekebo, isalira kakekebo. Moto na moto sekite makojo mene soko peroko mene sakane na Oroko mene bosoye. Ugarua, abie suku ya mbokere, atesere wabu, nyesa tu beneke soko. Anaba woroko mabobo oroko mene dedi celebrate Ugarua. Oworo, Tata Ebuka NS, our president, Tata Makia Divine, our secretary, Tata Nanje Jean, our treasurer, Owe. Tata Iasa Enrique, Nabatata Gili. Omoro. Masua. Titu. Orokoto. Na iya Kindi Susan, financial secretary. Ambalo remote.